Hey everyone, I'm already live. Dimitri here, Pornography Addiction Recovery Coach. Today I want to discuss a special object in our sexuality, and that object is the fantasy. This week's topic is about living a fulfilled sex life, and fantasies play a huge part in that. Pornography is a repository of fantasies, if anything else. Sure, it is about pretty girls or pretty boys. It is about things that can be done. But overall, it is about a fantasy. And it's about the power play that is embedded in the fantasy that make us feel good at reassuring us in one way or another. And fantasies, we all have fantasies. We all have fantasies, and we don't choose our fantasies. Our fantasies choose us, which kind of sucks. You wish you could choose your fantasies. You wish maybe your fantasies would be more normal, that your fantasies would be less normal. But your fantasies they just choose you. There's nothing you can do about it. So you can either reprocess the wound that has created that fantasy, and yes, I do believe that fantasies come out of wounds that we have as a child. I've been talking about this in the past. Or you can fulfill that fantasy, which is more fun and probably, I don't know if it's easier, but it's more fun, for sure. And there's many ways you can fulfill those fantasies. And it feels, when you're consuming pornography, we're not in a place of connection. We're behind our screen watching virtual stuff, so we're very isolated. And at times it feels like nobody wants to connect with these fantasies, that we're condemned to be living in these fantasies. And I'm here to tell you that these fantasies are okay. Hey Kevin, what about the idea that early porn exposure creates your future fantasies? You are so 1,000,000% right. And I wanted to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. Absolutely. Just let me finish that idea here. What was I talking about? Fulfilling that fantasy? All right, well, let's just go into Kevin's question. Yeah, absolutely. Your fantasies choose you. And as I was saying, fantasies come from trauma. If you're watching pornography from an early age, your fantasies will be conditioned by the pornography you watched at a certain age. I was into extreme pornography when I was addicted to pornography because I came across content that was extreme when I was like 15 or 16. Like, my fantasies used to be really mild when I was a child, all the way back to when I was a child. And then after coming across pornography, it just escalated into complete nonsense that I was feeling really ashamed about, that I was feeling really bad about, and that I'm feeling I wouldn't be able to connect with people about because it came from pornography. So absolutely, your pornography creates trauma in your brain, and then you will inherit other people's fantasies that you never had in the first place if you're influenceable, which is what happened to me. 100%, Kevin. Thank you for asking. That's an awesome question. Nonetheless, at some point I was like, okay, I've got these fantasies, I've got to fulfill these fantasies, so I've got to meet other people who are into what I'm into. And we'll talk about this more tomorrow. But before we are even in a place of asking other people to fulfill our fantasies, I want to ask you, what are your fantasies? Do you have your sex bucket list? Is it clear? Do you have clarity over the fantasies you have and you want? And there's only 3 criteria that I would not accept as fantasies, is that if it's illegal, if it is non-consented, and if it is impossible. If it's illegal in your country, you're going to have a problem, and you're probably going to cause people a bunch of trouble too. So don't engage in a fantasy, and instead reprocess it with trauma reprocessing techniques. Second one, what's the second one? Consented. Healthy sexuality comes from a place of consent. Hey, I want to do that. Do you want to do that? Yes. Okay, let's do it. Do you want to do that? No? Okay, we can't do it. It's just as easy as that. If you have fantasies about rape and non-consent, which a lot of pornography is based on, in fact, pornography is all about non-consent, then it's a little bit more difficult, and you can kind of replay that in a role play scenario. That's an idea. And the third one, impossible. If you're into Martians and having sex with extraterrestrial people, it's going to be difficult for you to do that. It's just the laws of physics don't allow that, or biology. But other than these 3 conditions, just go for whatever. And you'll find people who are willing to do whatever you want with them, provided you connect on a place of clarity and honesty with them. So what is your sex bucket list? It can feel confronting to write it down, but it's important. And do you have clarity over these goals or these fantasies, and which one do you want to fulfill and which ones do you not want to fulfill? And once you know that, then you probably, if you find yourself in a position to fulfill these fantasies, you won't need pornography anymore, because you'll just be able to create your own pornography by going out and doing the things you want to do and that you find attractive in pornography. So you can write it down for us if you're feeling brave. What is your sex bucket list? And if you do, write it down in the comments below. Please use the trigger warning at the top so that people who don't watch pornography at the moment don't feel triggered by your comments. But I'd be really curious to hear it. Kevin, step 1, get a wife. No, Kevin, it's the opposite. Don't get a wife. Use the fact that you're single to just explore sexuality with a whole range of partners. That's the beauty of being single. And you can just, you can really meet the people that you want to meet who are into what you're into. And if you have a wife, your wife will be into what she's into. And if there's something you're into that she's not into, then it's troublesome. So if you're single, good on you. This is the perfect week for you. All this week I'm going to address how to fulfill your fantasies and how to have a fulfilled sex life. And the step 1 is not to get a wife, is to get a lot of meaningful sex with random people. It's basically what I'm saying. And if this is shocking you, it's possibly shocking, please let me know in the comments why, and I'll be very happy to discuss it with you. Okay, guys, so for today, just what's your bucket list? What's your sex bucket list? What are the fantasies that you want to engage in? What are the ones that you'd love to engage in but you're not sure? What are the ones you definitely don't want to engage in and would rather not suppress but reprocess from your life? These are the possibilities. Let us know in the comments below. Cheers.